Hi everyone, this is Sridevi from Infitex. In this call, I'm going to show how if someone wants to see connect to the Mojaloop deployed environment and run a simple P2P happy path transfer. That is what I'm going to show. That environment is IaC deployed environment, which is a very secure environment. So yeah, this is the IaC deployed environment where we have PM for MLs and switch. They are deployed in such a way that switch is in a different cluster and sender and receivers are in a different cluster to enable the security. So this environment has all the security features like JWS signatures enabled and TLS, mutual TLS certificate exchanges, and all of them are enabled. With this one, I'm in this environment, I'm going to run a transfer request from the sender FSP into the switch and the responses, and further it will be to the receiver FSP, and responses are coming all the way back to the sender FSP. So right now, as per the open FSP API specs, we have 3 requests to complete the transfer. So we are getting the party details first. So party lookup we are doing, and then just getting the code for that amount. So if I want to send a 10 USD, and what are my charges, like that, and finally confirming the transfer. But with this PM for MLs, so we can hit only one endpoint post transfers on the SDK outbound. That is what I'm going to do. Even on the core connector also, someone can hit the send money endpoint. But right now I'm going to hit the post transfers endpoint on the SDK outbound, which internally splits into 3 requests when it goes to the switch, and all the 3 responses coming back from the receiver FSP, and the consolidated response that we are going to see again on the PM for ML sender FSP side. So with this SDK is mainly for the security, not only just security. Security is just one of those important concepts here. So if a system integrator wants to want to connect their backend systems into the switch, so this simplifies the process. PM for ML simplifies that process, where they can hook up to a already developed security features using this SDK. And this core connector is something that is specific to the corresponding backend. So this is where some work is needed for the system integrators. So to run the request, we need to have VPN access for the PM for ML clusters, and we also need to have the VPN access for the switch. And we have different portals here in for these 3. Sender portal we have one, and PM for ML receiver portal we have, and the switch portal, BYF portal. So after running the request, I'm going to show the position changes in the switch for these 2 FSPs. Also, I'm going to show the same transfer, how it looks like on the sender side and on the receiver side. The same transfer flowing in 3 different components here. Okay. Yeah. Here on my screen, you are seeing the TTK UI. And the test case that I got is from here, github.com PM for ML. And in there are test collections. And in the golden path, you'll see the P2P transfer.json. That's what I'm running now. Before running the test, let's go to the switch portal where I want to show the different DFSPs in this environment. If you go to the financial positions tab, these are all the different DFSPs that we have in this environment. Right now, I'm going to run the request between PM for ML sender FSP to receiver FSP with USD currency. So the position changes that we are going to see are here. Current positions are 70-70, and after the 10 USD transfer, it becomes 80, and for the receiver, it will be -80. And these two are the sender and receiver portals. I'll explain it as I'm going through. So I'm taking this test case and running the request. The test case is successful. You can see the response here. So this is the transfer. Transfer is completed. And this is the transfer ID. I'm capturing this transfer ID to do a lookup on the portals for this transfer. So this is one request, but this gets split into three, as I mentioned. So in these cases, to have the response, consolidated response for all the three requests, we need to set up the auto accept quote and auto accept parties to true. That's when you get all the responses back at once. You don't need to do anything in between. Or we can also just send get parties request and just check the response. And once you are okay with the party details, once you confirm, then you can send the code request and see the response code details and trigger finally the transfer. That is another way of doing. So in that case, we have to set up that auto accept parties and auto accept code to false so that you can send each request at once. This is the code request and code response is here. The main thing that we want to look at the code response is the expiration LP packet and conditions and any fees and commissions. Finally, the fulfillment. This is what the payee is sending, committed status with the fulfillment and the completed timestamp. Okay, since this transfer is successful, let's make sure the positions updated on the BYF portal. So yeah, we were saying that current ones are 70-70. So now I'm refreshing this page to see the change. Yeah, it went to 80 and the receiver is minus 80. And also I can show the same transfer here. This is a very nicer view of this portal where we can monitor the monitor the different DFSPs and the failures and the successful transfers. And if there are so many failed transfers, we can also see why it is failing by the error code or by which FSP it is failing and those kind of details. A lot more to explain here. Right now we are just looking up on the transfer ID. Yeah, see, this is the transfer ID that we just sent. This is a basic information appearing here, like the currency, state, and amounts, and who, and sending from where to where. If you click on this transfer ID, basic information and the technical details will be shown like this. In the technical details, you can go in each and every step of this, like party lookup events, you can see. Right? Like similarly, you can also see the quote events. And transfer events. So different flows like the going through the prepare handlers, notification handlers, and again fulfill handlers, and all that you can see through these events. So that is the switch portal. And now I'm going to the sender portal. Basically, I'm just following this diagram. So switch, we send the transfer from the PM4ML sender FSP. It went through the switch and it went to the PM4ML receiver FSP. And PM4ML receiver FSP back and send the responses back all the way through switch and all the way to the sender FSP. So when the same transfer goes through this process, and I'm showing the path of the transfer and the state of the transfer in each of these portals. So this is the sender FSP portal. That's a known issue. So if you look at this, this is the transfer ID and the basic details. And again, if you click on this transfer ID, same basic information and technical details, you can see. Okay. Here you can also see different prepare and fulfill events. So the transfer status is success here. If you go to the receiver FSP and apply the same, you can also see I'm going to the advanced filtering and I'm going to, okay, let's see today. Let's try. Yeah. Let me see the transfer ID here one more time. 70314. This is the transfer ID. I'm just showing it in a different way how to find the transfer on this side. This is the transfer ID. If you click on this basic information like amount, transfer states, and when it was sent, and sender and recipient details, and in the technical details, you'll also get to see the schema transfer ID, transaction ID, quote IDs, and the transfer state. Similarly, the quote request responses, transfer, prepare, and fulfill events. All of them. If there is a failure, you'll get to see. You don't need to go to the logs, and you can see it from here itself. For example, there is a failure in the prepare. You'll get to see them here. You won't be seeing the transfer fulfill. Yeah, that is it. Thank you, everyone.